Yo, it's your boy Cool Blue back at it again with another video here on the channel. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Today is May 12th, 2021, and the title of the episode is Philadelphia Flyers Season Recap, Season 2020-2021. What's going on, everybody? It's day 2 since the Philadelphia Flyers season has ended. I was looking at my schedule today for work. I was looking at my schedule today for after work, and when I realized that there was no Philadelphia Flyers games on tonight, it hit me. It's not going to be on for quite some time. I wish all the teams the best of luck that are in the playoff tournament for the Stanley Cup, except for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Fuck them. But no, on a serious note, today it kind of hit me a little bit harder than it did yesterday that the season was over. And it sucks, you know? Like, who wants the season to be over if you're a Philadelphia Flyers fan? This is not what you want. You never want to see your team out of the playoffs. You always want to see your team be successful, and you always want to see your team give it all the effort they possibly can to make the playoffs. And then, because you never know, like once you're in the playoffs, teams get hot, teams get cold, anything can happen. But unfortunately, as all Flyers fans know, this was not our year. It wasn't our year for quite a few reasons. And our season's basically been over for a while. Let's see. Our season basically ended in April, and it basically ended around between the 10th and the 13th of April. And that was after we played the Boston Bruins 3 games. When we had the New York Islanders in there and Buffalo Sabres and the Capitals. And we lost to everyone except for the Boston Bruins. And it really just put a damper on our entire season. But even before that, we kind of knew where this team was. It wasn't where it needed to be to compete against, some of the upper end teams like the Pittsburgh Penguins, the Washington Capitals, the Boston Bruins, the New York Islanders. For Christ's sake, we couldn't even beat the New York Rangers. They smoked us when we played them, and not every game, but enough where you knew that we just knew what product we were getting out of the Philadelphia roster this year, and it wasn't good. It wasn't good. But this is a season recap. Now, to be honest with you, I've never done a season recap like this before, so basically what I was thinking about for this episode is we're just going to go break down every single player on the roster, and we're going to just see kind of like, we're going to talk about each person individually and what they brought to the team this year, how we think their season went. And yeah, because, as we know, our season, we only have 58 points. That's like a point per game that we played. Like, that's not good. Not good. But anyway, let's start with the skaters. Now, I'm going to go from the bottom up, and the reason being is because the first person on the list is Claude Giroux, and I think we should save the captain for last. So, starting with Cam York, he's played 3 games. Really? Oh, yeah. It says he's played 3. He's got a plus-minus of 1. He's got a -1. 19 minutes played in total. Shots on goal, 1. I didn't really expect that many stats to be here for Cam, but I will say that Cam looked promising going forward. I think he's going to be a good addition to the roster. I think he's going to be a good NHL player, good NHL defenseman, and hopefully we see him make it out of camp next year. Hopefully we see him on the roster. I think more time in the NHL is going to really benefit this guy. So moving on to Carson Turinsky. He played 7 games, mainly in the beginning of the season. Had a plus minus, -3. He had 2 minutes of two penalty minutes, and then 4 shots on goal. Out of 7 games, he only played 8, almost 9 minutes. So his stats really weren't there during those games. I do remember him playing. He was noticeable on the ice, but he only played 7 games, so not too much to talk about with him. But moving on to Tanner Zurinsky, he had played in 5 games. He has a +1 in the plus minus, and he has 6 shots on goal with about 10 minutes played on ice. Tanner Zurinsky, I actually liked him. I liked watching him play this year. I thought he brought something unique to the team. We're gonna have to see where his playing time goes come camp next year. We'll have to see if he makes the roster. But Turinsky, York, if they don't make the roster next year, I think it's nice to have these guys in the farm system. And I think it's nice to have players like this that can be caught up when needed. So moving on. David Case, he played 1 game. I remember watching him play, but I really don't remember how he performed. So he really has no stats on the board, like zero all the way through, except for he's played 11 minutes basically. Yeah, so not much to talk about him. Morgan, he's one of those guys where it's good to have him in the farm system if need be. Morgan Frost. Sucks. He only played 2 games. Didn't really have any stats. He only played like a little over 10 minutes in the 2 games. Morgan Frost, I believe, is a good NHL player. Unfortunately, he got hurt this year, and he was basically out for the entire season. But I do see a positive future for Morgan Frost, and he's a guy that's going to be battling it in camp come next season for a starting spot on the roster. So it's good to have guys of his talent competing in camp for a roster spot. Moving on to Andy Andreoff. Man, I completely forgot about him. Played 6 games at a -6. He had 9 penalty minutes and only 2 shots on net, and he only played 8.5 minutes. Andreoff, he had a good season last year. We had him last year up, and we didn't use him all that much, but towards the end of the run before the bubble, I remember him having a slight impact on the ice. So, like I said, if he's in the system come next year in camp, he kind of ties in with all these guys that we've already talked about. It's good competition to fight for spots on the roster come next season. Sam Morin. Sam Morin, he played 20 games this year. Not the amount of games that I want to see him play on the roster. I want to see him up for a full season. But this being his rehab season, 20 games was perfectly fine with me, especially it being a shortened season. He basically played half the year up here, which was nice. He had 1 goal. I was actually at that game when he got his first NHL goal. It was pretty cool. It was actually the game winner. I believe it was the game winner. He's had, 1 point. That was the goal. Well, wait a second. Oh, never mind. For some reason, I was thinking you get 2 points for the goal, but you get the 2 points for the win. He's got 1 goal, 1 point. He's a -7 with 37 penalty minutes. He has, he's 1 game winning goal, and shots on goal. He's got 14. It says he only played 10. Oh, his average time on ice is 10 minutes. Oh, so sorry. All the other guys that I was mentioning before, their average times were the times that I talked about. So his average time is about 10 minutes on ice. Um, like I said, his rehab season, 20 games, average time 10 minutes. It's half a period. Um, I like Samaran's presence on the ice. He needs to work on his discipline, but also being a young defenseman, he's not going to get the benefit of the doubt in some of the situations he was in. I do think some of the situations that he was called for penalties throughout the season didn't necessarily warrant the actual penalty. I think with time and with growing status in the league, I think he will eventually evolve to be one of the players that gets the benefit of the doubt, and I think you'll see some of these penalty minutes come down. Um, but 37 penalty minutes in 20 games, you're talking about like almost two penalties a game, almost. But so that definitely needs to come down. But I think with time it will. Moving on, we got Jackson Cates. Played 4 games. He had 1 point. Or 1 assist, 1 point, -3, 7 shots on net, and he averaged about 10.5 minutes of ice time in the 4 games. Jackson Cates, I like I said, just like I said about all the other guys in the beginning, he's a guy that I'm glad that he's in our farm system. I'm glad he's on. He's going to be competing for a roster spot next year. His game wasn't bad. We'll have to see where he is next year. Connor Bunnaman, he played 18 games, 1 assist, 1 point, -6. He had 2 penalty minutes, 15 shots on net, and he averaged 11.5 minutes on ice. Connor Bunnaman. I like Connor Bunnaman. I think he is like a 4th-line center. Can he work his game up to a 3rd-line center? Probably. With practice, with regular practice and a regular schedule, I think he probably could work into himself into a consistent 4th-line, 3rd-line center. He had 18 games. He only had 1 assist. That's not really going to cut it to really make an impact on a team like this. But I think with the practice, the regular practicing, the frequent practicing, a normal schedule, I think that he could probably patch in some goals in there. So I think he can be an 8 to 10 goal guy a year. Maybe. We'll have to see. But he's another guy we're going to throw into the camp. We're going to call it the camp roster. He's another guy I like to see in camp next year and like to see where he's going to get where his game gets to. Nate Prozer. 6 games, 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 points, a -7 with only 5 shots on net. What the hell is this? Shooting percentage, shots on goal. He had 5 shots on goal. His shooting percentage was 20%. Averaged 13 minutes on ice. He only played 6 games. Honestly, wasn't impressed by him this year. He didn't really do much for us. So, Nate, whatever. Sorry, buddy. Wasn't impressed. Let's see. Robert Hagg. I'm a big Robert Hagg fan. I like Robert Hagg. He had 34 games played, 2 goals, 3 assists, 5 points, a -3, 18 penalty minutes, 29 shots on net, shooting percentage of 6.9, and he averages 15.5 minutes a game. Robert Hagg, I think he's a role player. I think he plays his role very well. He's not a guy that's going to get you clutch goals down the stretch. He's not a guy that's going to wow you with his offensive and defensive play on the ice, but I think he does enough to ride the 3rd line defensively. If we moved Robert Hagg, depending on who we get for him, I'd have to make my assessment then. But I'm not like, oh, we got to get rid of him right away. That's definitely not what I'm saying at all. I think I know he missed a lot of games due to injury, due to the roster, due to the scheduling, and having other guys come into the roster force him to miss games. I think Robert Haig needs to be on the team next year. Whether or not he has the same role in the team next year, we will see what happens. But I think he definitely needs a chance to prove himself and to prove himself that he can be on the roster full time. Justin Braun, 53 games, 1 goal, 5 assists, 6 points, 18 penalty minutes, 59 shots on goal with a 1.7 shooting percent, and almost 18 and a half, or a little over 18 and a half minutes per game. Justin Braun, solid defenseman. Do we keep him? I don't even know what his contract is, but I like Justin Braun. I think he's a stud, very consistent. He's one of those players. He's not flashy, but he's consistent, and I think you need that. I think him and Prove on the team need to stay together. All right, coming up next, we got Wade Allison. Wade Allison played more games than I thought. Yesterday, I think I said I thought he only played like between 8 to 10 games. Wade Allison played 14 games this year. He had 4 goals, 3 assists, 7 points total, a 1+ minus. He had 4 penalty minutes. He had 1 power play point. And he also, he had 1 game-winning goal, 24 shots on net, shooting percentage of 16.7 with almost 13 minutes play time on the ice, average time on the ice. So here comes the interesting guy, okay? And this is a guy, I don't care what people say, we need to critique him. Nolan Patrick. What happened to Nolan Patrick this season? Now, I know he didn't play much last year. I know he had the concussion syndrome, or he had the concussions. Then he had the migraine syndrome. I know he dealt with a lot of health issues last year. But Nolan Patrick, come on, man. I think Wade Allison has better stats than you. All right, so you have Nolan in 52 games. Nolan Patrick had 4 goals. 14 games, Wade Allison had 4 goals. 52 games, Patrick had 5 assists. Wade had 3 assists. I mean, dude, he was a -30. -30. 20 penalty minutes, 3 power play points, 49 shots on goal. This was a bad year for Nolan Patrick. Now, can we get the Nolan Patrick back? I mean, I want to say yes. I want to say we can. We're going to have to see how this offseason goes. Rumor had it that he was on the trading block this year, and that it wasn't going to cost much to get rid of him. Now, did they say that to motivate him? Hopefully. I like Nolan Patrick. I don't want to see him go. But we can't afford like 1 or 2 more seasons with him playing so bad. We can't. I mean, if we keep Giroux and we keep Voracek, I mean, and these guys are coming out of their primes. We need to capitalize and we need to cash in now. We can't afford it. Can't afford it. And if he's not ready to come into the league, back into the league at full force, then I'm okay with the stats. These stats, we can't afford this. We need to send him back to the minors. Let him, get healthy, and pump his game up, and bring someone else up. Keep Allison in the lineup. Nolan Patrick was a disappointment this year. That's all I'm going to say about him. And if we traded him tomorrow, depending on who we got back, I'm not going to complain too much. But This four goals and 5 assists in 52 games from Nolan Patrick, your number 2 overall pick. No. You get a pass this year because of COVID, because you came back from the migraine syndrome, but your pass is over. It's run its course. I had patience this year, and I'll let it slide this year. Next year, no. This can't happen. Moving on. Philip Myers. 44 games, 1 goal, 10 assists, 11 points, a -10, 22 penalty minutes, 77 shots on net, a 1.3 shooting percentage with almost 19 minutes played on average. Myers, I like Myers. I have nothing against Myers. I think that Myers fits in with Hag. I think Myers is more talented than Hag, but Myers needs to be in the lineup more often. I'll agree. I'm okay with saying that. He's got a lot of growing to do. Myers, Hag, Sanheim, they all got growing to do. And so does York. If York comes up, Cam York comes up, he's got a lot of growing to do. You know, I look at Prove and Ghost. You know, they're starting to turn into vets at this point, and they haven't even been in the league that long. And of course you got Braun. Braun is a little legit vet. He's been in the league for a long time. So we got a young defensive core, and I do think that we need to pick up in the offseason another vet defenseman. We can't keep hoping and wondering if Niskanen's going to come out of retirement. No, that ship sailed. And even if he did, he wants to go to a winning team. He doesn't want to come to us. Not the way that we're playing. But I think we need to pick up another defenseman. Just going to say it. Moving on, Nicolas A. Kubel. 50 games, 3 goals, 9 assists, 12 points on the year, a -3, 44 penalty minutes, 53 shots on net, a 5.7 shooting percentage with an average time of a little over 11 minutes on the ice. So Nicolas A. Kubel, I really liked his play last year when he came into the game, onto the roster. His play this year, it was noticeable many times. I think he needs to bump up the goals a little bit. He did sit on the third line for some parts of the season. He sat on the fourth line for some parts of the season. If he can get his goals, along with Bunneman, if they can get their goals up to like 8 to 10 goals a season, that would go such a long way. Such a long way. Nicolas A. Kubel, I think you're ahead of the class when it comes to most of the guys down in the minor leagues that are going to be at camp. It sucks. I don't really want to call you a camp. I don't want to put you on the camp roster, but I honestly think that, like, if you are fighting for a spot in the camp, you're definitely a top contender to be on the roster. I think you have what it takes, and I just think with a little tweaking, a little like everyone else on the roster, a little frequent and normal schedule and practicing, I think he'll be just fine. Moving on, we got Oscar Lindblom, 50 games played, if he had 80 goals, that'd be insane. No, he had 50 games played, 8 goals, 6 assists, 14 points on the year, a -9, 9 penalty minutes, 1 game-winning goal, 58 shots on net with a 13.8 percentage on shooting, and a little over 13 minutes average on ice per game. Oscar, my man, you have been through a lot. The city knows it. Everyone knows it. It's okay. You have better stats than Nolan Patrick. Frustrating year for Oscar. We've seen Oscar play at a very, very good level, a higher level than anybody he played this year. I think Oscar will be just fine. I'm not worried about Oscar Lindblom. He needs to stay on the roster. He's going to be a great NHL player. He's going to have a good, healthy career. He needs to be a Flyer. Hands down. Travis Sanheim. Travis Sanheim played 55 games with 3 goals, 12 assists, 15 points, a minus 22, 23 penalty minutes, 1 game-winning goal, 100 shots on goal with a 3% shooting 3% shooting percentage, and he averages 21.53 minutes per game. Travis Sanheim. Love the kid. I think he's great. I think he needs to stay on the roster. The only thing he really needs to do, in my opinion, is just work on his defensive game. And that it's gonna come. He's a young player. He's a young defenseman. I'm not worried about Travis Sanheim in the slightest. I think next season he's gonna come back bigger, stronger, faster. Oh, I think he's gonna just come back better next year. Scotty Laughton. Scott Laughton. 53 games played, 9 goals, 11 assists, 20 points on the year, 13 plus, 39 penalty minutes. What is this? Oh, shorthanded points. I didn't think we had any shorthanded goals this year. Did we have one at the end of the year? Did I miss it? Oh, I don't know. Scott Laughton, one shorthanded goal, or one shorthanded point. Had to be a goal. 1 game-winning goal, 89 shots on goal, a 10.1 shoot percentage, about 15 and a half average time on ice. I think that he's the only shorthanded point on the entire season. Yep, Scotty Laughton, dude. Oh my gosh. It would be Scotty. Scott, hey, I'm kind of glad we didn't get rid of Scott Laughton. I know we had to say goodbye to Michael Raffle. Scott Laughton, he is such a great role player. He knows his role. He plays his role so well. He's a great fit for the city of Philadelphia. He's a grinder, man. He always has been. He probably always will be. He gets the puck. He goes into the dirty areas. He gets the puck, and he plays both ways. He plays pretty good defense, not spectacular defense, but good enough defense. Plays a hard hitting game, and he plays the penalty kill. He's awesome on the penalty kill. So I'm glad to see Scotty still on the team for I think we have 3 more years. Yeah, I think it's 3 more years. Yeah, Scott, normal season, you're fine. Shane Gostisbehere, 41 games played, 9 goals, 11 assists, 20 points, a -2, 6 penalty minutes, 9 power play goals. 9 power play points. So that's goals and assists. 85 shots on net, a 10.6 shooting percentage, and almost 20. He averages almost 20 minutes on ice per game. Ghost, we've talked about Ghost so much in the past. Does his offensive play outweigh his defensive play? He's a defenseman, but he's so bad at defense. He's not good. He's not a good He's not good on defense. If they traded him tomorrow, depending on who we get, I probably wouldn't really care. But I do like Ghost. I like watching him score goals. With another 30 games, he probably would have. If I had to go out on a limb, I would say he would have had between 13 and 15 goals if this was a regular season. But yeah, unfortunately, I just don't know. I don't want to say he had a great year, but I don't want to say he had a bad year. I'm just going to say he had an okay season. That's all I'm going to say. Ghost. I get frustrated because if he had some sort of defensive skills that competed with the opposite side of his game, which is his offensive game, we wouldn't even be talking about this. But there's just so many times he gets burned on plays. People skate right around him, and for as fast as he is, it's like he can't skate backwards. It's just crazy. I don't get it. But he's still on the team, so I mean, he's better than some of the other defensemen we have. Like, I don't think I would put Cam in there instead of Ghost yet. Who else? Hag, I probably wouldn't put in there over Ghost. Braun needs to be in the lineup. Myers, he's in the lineup. Sanheim is in the lineup. Ghost. And then you got Prove. Prove you can't take out of the lineup. He played 56 games. He had 7 goals, 19 assists, 26 points on the year. He has a +4, 28 penalty minutes, 10 power play points, 2 game-winning goals, 126 shots on net, a 5.6 shooting percentage, and he averages almost 25 minutes on ice a game. That's insane. He plays almost half a game. He's our best player on defense. Hands down. No questions. Best defensive player. I wish we had 3 of them. Prove, I call him the General. That's my nickname for him. He's the General because he puts the troops in the places that they need to be, and he distributes the puck. You're not allowed to argue with me about it. He's great. Kevin Hayes, 55 games played, 12 goals, 19 assists, 31 points on the year, -2, 22 penalty minutes, 9 power play points, 2 game-winning goals, 127 shots on net with a 9.4 shooting percentage, and an average of 17.5 minutes per game. Kevin Hayes, I think Kevin kind of knew where the season was going once the season got to where it was. And I don't want to say he gave up on the team, but he definitely lacklustered a little bit at the end. But we found out that he's getting surgery on something. He didn't disclaim what part of his body. So after hearing that, it kind of makes sense on why his game and his efforts might have changed. If he was playing hurt with a broken foot or something like that, or some sort of lower body injury, it could explain a lot. So Kevin Hayes, I was excited when we got you. I'm still excited to have you on the team. I'm looking forward to next season and back to normal schedule, back to normal practices, and I think Kevin Hayes will be just fine. Travis Konechny, TK, 50 games played, 11 goals, 23 assists, 34 points on the season, a -5, 26 penalty minutes, 11 power play points, 1 game-winning goal, 100 shots on net, with a shooting percentage of 11, and an average time on ice at almost 16 minutes per game. Travis Konechny, TK. I'm not worried about TK. Solid player. Needs to be on the roster. No questions about it. He's untradeable in my opinion. He did deal with COVID this year, and that throws off your game. So Travis Konechny, you're fine in my book. Joel Farabee, 55 games, 20 goals, 18 assists, 38 points, a 0 for plus-minus, 28 penalty minutes, 7 power play points, 1 game-winning goal, 122 points, 16.4 shooting percentage with an average of about 16 minutes per game. Joel Farabee, you are so much fun to watch. You remind me of Travis Konechny. You two you guys are just great to watch. You're fun to watch. Joel Farabee, man, your game is just it really stepped up this year. I'm excited to see what you can do in a full season. I mean, looking at your goals now, looking at your stats, you're talking a full season. I don't know, 30 goals, 30 assists. I mean, you could be a 60-point player a year. That's not bad. I'll take that. Your plus-minus is good. I mean, penalty minutes could probably come down, but, you getting some scrums around the net. It happens. And you're young. You're going to learn. So now we're getting to the meat. We're getting to the meat right now. Sean Couturier. 45 games played, 18 goals, 23 assists, 41 points on the season, a -4, only 8 penalty minutes. That's crazy. You only had 8 penalty minutes. Damn, good job, Coots. 10 power play points, 4 game-winning goals, 120 shots on net, 15 shooting percentage, and you average a little less than 19.5 time on ice. Sean Couturier. You are the future captain of this team, in my opinion. You're one or not the best player on our team. You come with it every night. You do not worry me in the slightest. Continue staying healthy. Come back next season. I mean, even Coots, give him 30 more games. You're talking a 25 goal season. 26, 20. Yeah, come on. Come on. That's good. That's good. JVR. Oh, my gosh. JVR, 56 games played, 17 goals, 26 assists, 43 points on the season, plus/minus of 2. That's a +2. Only 14 penalty minutes, 12 power play points, 1 game-winning goal, 132 shots on net, 12.9 shooting percentage, 16.33 time on ice. JVR. I don't even know what to say about JVR anymore because he was so good in the beginning of the season, right? We can all say that. He was good in the beginning of the year. And then he kind of just fell off. He ends the season with 17 goals. Give him 30 more games. He's probably around 25. It's just so hard to tell if he's still a good fit for this team. You know what I mean? Like, has he peaked? Is he over the hump? I mean, with this new talent coming up, it's so tough to say, like, oh, well, we need JVR. We don't need JVR. Do we need JVR? He's one of those guys where I'm like, if he stays, he stays. If he goes, he goes. You know what I mean? That's kind of how that's kind of where I'm at with JVR. I like JVR. I wish we had him throughout his career. But that's just where I'm at. You know, like what can you get for him? Like if you could get a solid vet defenseman for him, I say do it. But I'm not willing to give him up for nothing. You know, like you need to get something for him. You need to get something for him, and you need to get something for him fast because I just don't know how much longer he's going to help the team. Jakub Voracek. Jake Voracek. Coming in with 53 games played, 9 goals, 34 assists, 43 points on the year, a -12, 18 penalty minutes, 8 power play points, 2 game-winning goals, 104 shots on goal, 8.7 shooting percentage, and almost 17 minutes per game average. Jake, he is an assist machine, always has a lot of assists. And no Flyer fan ever depends on Jake to score goals. That's just not what he does. That's not his thing. He's pass first. So that's just how it is. He's a player that I just don't know how I feel about him anymore. Is he good enough to stay on the roster? Has he peaked? Do we need to move on from Jake? Can we get anything for him? He's another guy. He's in with James. He's in the. So we have our camp club, the guys that I want to see in camp compete, And these two guys are in him, JVR, Jake Voracek, and Ghost are all in the take it or, either you go, you stay, you stay. So we're going to put them in the go/stay category, where I won't be mad if they leave, and I won't be mad if they stay. All right. We're going to say the captain for last. So we're going to move on to the goalies. Alex Lyon, 6 games played, 1 win, 3 losses, 1 overtime loss. Let's see. We got goals against 18. So he let up 18 goals. Goals against average was a 3.33. Shots against 169. Save percentage was at .893. No shootouts. And I'm not even going to talk about the minutes because they don't really matter. Alex Lyon, he's solid. He's solid. He's not a scrub. I think that he can win you some games. He doesn't play in the NHL level that often, so you don't really know what you would get out of him if he played. If it was Hart and Lyon as our 2 goalies, how many more wins and stuff would you have out of Lyon? It's hard to really say, but I like Lyon. I like him in the system. I definitely don't want to get rid of him. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens with Brian Elliott. Is he going to be coming back next year? He says he still has stuff left in the tank. He still has things that he wants to prove. But we will find out. We'll find out in the offseason if the Flyers are willing to pay him another 1-year deal. I would like to see Moose back. I like Moose on the roster, but like I said, we'll have to see what happens and what the front office wants to do with Brian Elliott. But moving on, Brian Elliott, 30 games played, 15 wins, 9 losses, 2 overtime losses, 82 goals against, with a goals against average of a 3.06, save percentage, shots against 738, save percentage was a .889, shootouts 2. Brian Elliott, you had a good year. You didn't have the best performers around you this year. I think, like I've said multiple times in this episode, with a good regular season, regular practice, I believe that you have 15 wins, 9 losses, 2 overtime losses. I would say that would probably make it 1 overtime loss, 16 wins, 9 losses. I would say 20 wins and 5 losses, 1 overtime loss. So I think that 15-9-2 would be 25-1. Carter Hart. We've talked about Carter Hart quite a bit. He has 27 games played, 9 wins, 11 losses, 5 overtime losses, 89 goals against. Goals against average was a 3.67. Shots against him were 721. Saving percentage was .877. Shootouts were 1. Carter Hart, I'm not worried about you. This was a growing and learning season for you. Look forward to seeing you next year, bud. Get healthy, and we'll see you next year. I'm not worried about Hart. He is the future of the franchise. I do firmly believe that. I think we're going to look back on this season years from now and be like, man, remember when we were worried? I was never worried. I'll let you know when I'm worried about Carter Hart. Claude Giroux, G, the captain. 54 games played, 16 goals, 27 assists, 43 points, a -4, 12 penalty minutes, 11 power play points, 2 game-winning goals, 120 shots on goal, 13.3 shooting percentage with basically an average of 18 minutes per game on ice. G, let's just focus on next season. We can't move G. G's not going anywhere. So let's focus on next season. Let's try to cash in on the last two or 3 years we have left on his contract. Let's get him a cup. Let's get the city a cup. Give this man 30 more games. He probably walks away with 60 points at least. He did miss some stuff. It says it only. I don't know how many games that were played this year. I really don't. I don't remember. I thought it was 56. It says only 2 games missing. But he was out with COVID. He had COVID. I don't know. We can't move G. It's in his contract. He's not going anywhere. We need to cash in with him. It was interesting to see him not play on the first line this year at some points. That was weird for me. But we saw it. And they won games when he was not on the first line. So we're going to have to see where he goes. I trust AV. Alain Vigneault, I trust him. I trust him with the roster. Trust him with the young guys. Trust him with the older guys. I think that he can put it together. Give us a regular season. Give us regular practicing. And I think we can put the pieces together. There's a few pieces that we need, but I think that we'll be fine. All right. Overall, this season sucked. It really did. But next year, I think we're going to come back. We're going to hit harder. We're going to skate faster. We're going to pass better. And we're going to win. That's my prediction. That's how I feel. And I'm sticking to it. Let me know down in the comments if you're watching this, how you feel about the Flyers. Where do you think they're going to go? Let me know just let me know what you're feeling. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Hit the subscription button. All the support is greatly appreciated. Hit the bell for notifications. You'll be notified anytime I do a live stream or post a video up on the channel. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. And I will see you next video. Go Flyers.